In behaviorism, it is believed that a person is passive and simply responds to environmental stimuli through conditioning that is both classical and operant. In essence, an individual is a clean slate and their behavior is the result of either positive or negative reinforcement. Because behavior can be observed, it is much easier to collect and quantify data. Though behaviorism is no longer as popular as it had been in the mid 20th century, its influence can still be found in parenting methods, teaching methods, animal training, and changing practices in people that are harmful and maladaptive. In this video, I am going to discuss about Little Albert experiment. J.B. Watson took a great interest in Ivan Pavlov's experiment on dogs and conditioning and wanted to see if he could take behavioral conditioning one step further by classically conditioning emotional reactions in people. The participant of the experiment was nearly 9-month-old baby that Watson referred to as Albert B, but who is now commonly referred to as Little Albert. Watson and his research assistant Rosalie Rayner, whom Watson would have an affair with, exposed the baby to a variety of stimuli and recorded the baby's reactions. The stimuli included a rabbit, a monkey, a white rat, burning newspapers, and musk. At first, the child showed absolutely no fear to any of the stimuli. Next time, Watson exposed the child to the white rat, and he simultaneously used a hammer and hit a metal pipe, which created an extremely loud noise. The baby began to cry from the noise. Watson then repeated the pairing of the loud noise with the white rat. Eventually, the baby began crying just from seeing the white rat without any noise being paired with it. Here, the neutral stimulus was the white rat. The unconditioned stimulus was the loud noise created by the hammer hitting the metal pipe. The unconditioned response was fear. Now, after conditioning, the conditioned stimulus was the white rat and conditioned response was fear. As with Pavlov, Watson had shown that it was possible to create a conditioned response to a neutral stimulus. Although in Watson's case, the conditioned response was taking place in a human and it was an emotional, not merely physiological response. Furthermore, Watson also noticed a new fearful reaction in Little Albert to all white objects, which came to be known as stimulus generalization. For example, following conditioning, the baby in the Little Albert experiment not only became afraid when it saw the white rat but also a variety of white objects, from a white fur coat to a Santa Claus beard. Now, criticisms of the experiment. Though it was a landmark experiment in psychology, Watson's Little Albert experiment has been criticized for several reasons. The baby's reactions were not evaluated objectively but were simply the subjective interpretations of Watson and Rayner. And the experiment raises many ethical questions. Today, if someone were to try this experiment, it would be considered unethical by the American Psychological Association because it evokes fear in person. And that is only ethical if the person agrees to participate in the study knowing in advance that they will be purposely scared as a part of the experiment. Watson's career was abruptly brought to an end shortly after the Little Albert experiments, when he was forced to resign his professorship amid the scandal of his affair with his researcher Rosalie Rayner. Despite the incompetencies of this research, Watson felt vindicated in his belief in behaviorism, and more particularly the application of classical stimulus response conditioning to humans. Watson believed that anyone, regardless of their nature, can be trained to be anything. He even boasted in his 1924 book Behaviorism, "Give me a dozen healthy infants, well formed and my own specified world to bring them up in, and I will guarantee to take anyone at random and train him to be any type of specialist. I might select doctor, lawyer, artist, merchant, chef, and yes, even beggarman and thief, regardless of his talents, penchants, tendencies, abilities, vocations, and race of his ancestors. In the nature versus nurture debate, Watson was firmly on the side of nurture. Watson applied his understanding of human behavior to the advertising in 1920s, demonstrating that people can be influenced into buying products through their image, not content. Alternative approaches to the childcare soon appeared, even among committed behaviorists. While accepting the basic principle of conditioning established by Watson, that is, despite the dubious ethics of the Little Albert experiment, and using that as a starting point for his own radical behaviorism, the psychologist B.F. Skinner was to apply behaviorism to the businesses to childcare in a much more benign manner. Now, try this.